Gentlemen, to another episode of Sober Grind.
Super grind, super grind, super grind, super grind, super grind, super grind, super grind.
Yes, today we have an awesome topic. We're talking about protecting your sobriety, especially over the holiday season. So it's a very stressful time. You open yourself up to stressful situations, bad people, and we're going to be talking about how to avoid all of these things and actually protect your sobriety. So,
Right.
my name is Austin, and I'm joined by my co-host Pej.
Page,
With the delayed reaction.
Page, the
Pej,
one and only.
the one and only. So
I met
again,
a Page. I
if
met a
you're
Page last week, another Page one.
you met it, you
He
have
has
to
more hair than me.
you have to take him out. There can be only one.
No,
One Pej to rule them all.
I'm not that special. Just another bozo on the bus.
So, all right. If you have any questions or comments or anything at all regarding holidays or sobriety, or even if you have any questions about addiction and recovery, let us know in the comments. Let's get started here. Pej, why do people get themselves into bad situations?
You mean like people that are supposed to be sober that suddenly get themselves, around the holidays, we talked about this, I think, last week too.
Yeah.
There's this cute little saying that we say in recovery called, I get squirrely around the holidays, right?
Why is that?
Because holidays are tough to deal with for some people that are in recovery. For a lot of people, when they're in early recovery, the holidays make people feel a way of sorts. There's Christmas parties, there's holiday parties, there's people that are going to certain functions, there's alcohol that's flowing, everybody's acting in a festive manner, people are offering people drinks. Um, there's people that are newly sober that go through treatment. There's a Christmas tree. There's
Mm.
there's people getting letters and presents, and there's gift exchanges and things like that. So often this is really hard for people to deal with. There's just some people that can't stand the holidays, and then there's some people that know that they screwed up during the holidays. There's a lot of people that would, for example, like when they were in active addiction, try to go home to their parents' house during the holidays and spend more time in the bathroom than they actually do with the family.
Mm-hmm.
So then they don't protect themselves because they get these thoughts and they don't know that they can deal with it, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they relapse.
Mm-hmm. So, how can people avoid getting into these situations? What are some steps that you advise?
I mean, I'm a firm believer of you never want to forget where you came from. So, like, if you're a
Mm.
person that's in recovery, coming to terms with the fact that we become powerless over drugs and alcohol, if we don't really understand what that means and how our lives do, how we can't manage our lives as a result of using or drinking, one never wants to forget where they came from. One never wants to forget how bad it got. So putting yourself in slippery places or situations, you want to go with somebody, or you don't want to spend too much time there, or you don't want to go and hang out with certain people at all, people that are not at all in recovery, and you hanging out with them for extensive amount of like periods of time and thinking that you're going to be okay. And if you don't have like a solid foundation and you're not really uh, sure about how serious you are about your recovery, then you don't want to go, let's say, for example, to the company party where they're serving endless amounts of free
Mm.
alcohol, or
Yeah.
go to to a wedding where there's an open bar and such.
Good point. So, yeah, you mentioned earlier a little bit about actually checking your drinks if
Oh yeah,
are at a
people
holiday
you can mix.
party and.
People love to mix a little bit of the rummy rum in the eggnog, for example.
Mm.
It's all about smelling what you're about to put in your mouth, like, and really knowing. Sometimes you might go to a bar and ask for a regular soda or something, but the bartender's so used to mixing drinks that they accidentally hand you like a rum and coke or a
True.
Jack and Coke, which it's happened to me.
Yeah. So what do you do in that situation? So let's say that you're sober and you accidentally take a drink of a spiked eggnog,
Or just a drink in general.
or just a
Okay.
drink in general. Let's
So
say.
obviously, based off of what we're calling you know, this week's Sober Man podcast, protecting your sobriety. Well, again, like, how important is your sobriety to you? Like, how
Mm-hmm.
serious are you taking this thing? Is it something that you want to do one day at a time for the rest of your life, or are you just getting sober for a little while until the heat's off or until you think you can handle it again? Like me personally, I embraced recovery. Not right away. It took me a little while to actually fall in love with being sober. But I happened to be somewhere and somebody's vodka got mixed up with my water, and I took it, put it in my mouth, and when I drank it, I tasted it right away and I spit it out.
Yeah.
Now, some people that are alcoholics that aren't really that serious might taste that alcohol, and it gives them, it unleashes that beast that's within us to where you're like, oh well, now that I've already done this, might as well just keep going. I believe that happens to people that aren't really taking sobriety seriously, so they'll just keep going because they weren't really serious in the first place. They may have even put themselves in that position to where they would get tempted and possibly, perhaps, unconsciously do something like that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't
Yeah.
do it. Like, personally, when it happened to me, I spit it all out all over the floor, and I said, I thought you said that that was my water, and it wasn't water. It happened to be vodka, and I didn't keep going. So that's
Yeah.
not really a relapse. A relapse is like when you're already engulfed in recovery, or you're actually trying to take recovery seriously, and then you drink or use and ruin the process.
Gotcha. So Pam says, I choose not to put myself in those situations. I mean, that's probably one of the best things that you can do.
Right.
Um, how do you handle situations like that? So if you're sober or you're in recovery and you're invited into a holiday party where you know there's going to be active drinking there,
Right.
I guess this depends on what you were saying about how seriously you take your sobriety or how early you are in your sobriety. But how would you handle a situation like that?
There's a lot of people when they're in early sobriety, they like to run things by people that are some that give them some sense of guidance. Like they will say it to their mentor. They'll ask their mentors. They'll ask certain individuals, like, "What do you think about me going to this place?" And that person may accompany them. They may go alongside with them.
Mm,
They may actually like go and be with them. They may tell you, "I don't think it's a good idea. You only have 14 days sober. Perhaps you don't need to be going to that place at this time. Maybe it's too early for you." In some circles in recovery, we call it being spiritually fit or not being spiritually fit. If you're not spiritually fit, if you really, if the obsession hasn't been lifted and you go and to these places, you're definitely going to get tempted, and there's a great chance that you're going to not be able to withstand drinking, or more than that. There's a lot of people go to holiday parties and they retreat to the car to go smoke some herb, and the next thing you know, the guy
mm,
says, "Let's go do some cocaine," and then one
right.
thing leads to another, and then you're really feeling the festivities of that party in a way that you shouldn't be, especially if you were going as a sober human being
Yeah.
and person.
Now, how about certain people? We talked about the experiences and events and surroundings. How about people that can lead towards relapses? What's your experience there?
What do you mean, certain people to be hanging out with?
Yeah, certain people that maybe you used to use with or drink with, or that lead to more stress, that leads you to self coping mechanisms. What's your opinion on the
My
people that?
suggestion is for people that are getting newly sober, choose your friends wisely,
Mm,
and then know who your real friends are. Your real friends will look out for your sobriety. They won't. They won't put you in positions or want to keep you in positions to where you're at risk. You know, I recommend that you surround yourself with friends that share the same values as you, and that would be other sober friends.
mm,
Go to places, go to a sober Christmas party.
mm.
A lot of people think that that sounds like a whole other level of lameness. That's not the case at
No, I don't
all.
think so. They have
It,
sober bars out there now.
they
It's
do,
the newest
but
rage.
they do. I used to think like, oh, great, a Christmas party that's sober, a bunch of sober people, or a sober dance, right? in reality, like when you really get comfortable in your own skin and you embrace sobriety in ways to where it becomes a way of life, you actually have more fun doing things sober. Plus, you remember what happened the night before.
Yeah, I mean, look at events like we went to um, Real Real Rock Recovery, right?
Mm,
That's the event
right.
last year.
Yeah.
That's a that's a sober event. That was a blast.
Remind me what that was. I can't remember.
Are you kidding? Really?
Real Rock Recovery. Where was it?
It's Wes Greer's event. Rock to
Oh,
Recovery.
Rock for Recovery. Or
Rock
Rock
for
to
Recovery. Something
Recovery.
in there.
Rock to Recovery.
Rock for Recovery.
Real Rock Recovery. I hope
How
he's not
cool
watching this.
how cool was that event?
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Nobody
It was
even
all
thought
based.
of, you don't
It
need
was based
alcohol for
around
that.
recovery. It was about based around, um, you know, sober people that are living a sober life. You know, and I think somebody actually from the band may have died recently, but still they
Oh,
stayed sober.
really?
So yeah, it's very sad. I mean, it
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, so Pam has some other comments here and some great suggestions.
Yeah. How
So
come you can see the comments and I can't see them at all?
I'm looking at the beginnings video here. So if you have the video pulled up on the beginnings
Oh,
page,
am
you can see
I?
them. I carry my own Kangen water, and with me everywhere I go, as well as as all I drink is water. That's great. My
I love.
family.
You know what's cool about that
What's
is
that?
I was
Also,
one time.
Pam, we're located in California, so thanks for tuning in. She's watching from Washington State.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
one time I was at I was like a year sober, and I went to a bachelor party. It was for
Mm-hmm.
friends. It was with all of my old high school buddies that we all used to drink and we all used to smoke, and some of us did some cocaine, and so like I remember like going with them. It was at poolside at the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego. So we were on top of this roof, and it was just like old times. It was all the fun stuff that we used to do and go hang out and everybody was drinking, and there happened to be. I'm so sorry that that keeps dinging. I got to figure out how to kill
How
that.
dare you? Put your phone on airplane mode, man.
That's true. I could do that. Okay, so anyway, there happened to be another guy that was there, that was sober almost as long as me, probably about a few months less than me, but he was holding a cranberry juice. He was holding a cranberry with a lime on the side. And he came over to me and he said, "Pej, like you look like an oddball standing over here." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Why don't you go grab a drink and just put a lime on the side and just hold it in your hand, and that way, like when people keep offering you a drink, you just tell them no, you're good, because they won't offer you if you're drinking a drink, but it looks like it's a drink. You know that way, like you don't keep getting tempted, or the waitress doesn't keep coming around and asking you." And again, like I don't know that I was completely spiritually fit because the temptation was really high that night. I kept wondering why I can't be like my regular friends. We even went back to the room, and some of them were doing cocaine, and they were like asking me why I wasn't doing it. And I said I just don't live that way anymore. And they said, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you got sober. You went to like rehab, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "So you don't even drink anymore?" Like people that like they don't really get what like real sobriety
No.
is about. It's
Right.
about complete abstinence. So and again, like I no, I shouldn't have been in those places. I put my stuff on airplane mode. It's still coming through. So I don't know.
Turn the volume down.
If I turn the volume down, then I can't hear myself on
um, what do you think about those sober bars?
here. I mean, if it's a place to where people can go and lounge, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, if it's a place where people can go lounge and enjoy themselves, and it's a sober environment, all the better. I mean, I'm actually
Yeah, they've been popping up a lot. I think out in LA, there's a big scene out there. It's
there is
becoming pretty
there is
big.
I actually will be in LA more regularly. The announcement will come soon, but as of 2020,
Mm.
I have my hands in something like that right now. I'm actually
Oh, cool.
it's in the works.
Very cool.
Sober, yeah.
Very cool.
I very much believe in those. Anything that has to do with the sober community, I love to surround myself around it. You know, I'm all inclusive. I'm not selective in who I hang out with. If they're sober and they're living a good life and they have values, by all means, I would love to go to those types of places. I've been to a couple of those types of places. I'm all about it. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Pej, what other advice do you have for people to protect their sobriety over the holiday season? And if anyone's watching or listening, let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and we'll address them either live or afterwards as well, to the best of our ability. So let us know. Pej, what other advice do you have?
I mean, all I can say is the holidays are just other days. You know what I mean? They're a little more special, and to some people they're not as special. There's some people that I know that absolutely they despise the holidays. You know, 'tis the season for lots of relapses. It's very sad, but I'm watching people drop like flies left and right, more than we
It's
regularly
horrible.
see. There's been a
Yeah.
lot of people that have gone out and drank. There's been a lot of people that have been using recently. There's a lot of overdoses that have been happening. But you never want to forget where you came from. If you've been introduced to recovery, it may be your only chance to actually do recovery. Because if you keep going back out, you're playing with fire. And if you play with fire, you might get burnt. So I encourage people to surround yourself around the community. Get around people that really, really take this thing seriously. Enjoy yourself. You can enjoy yourself in sobriety. It's possible. There is hope. We're not a glum lot. We don't just get sober so that we are miserable. There was a reason why we're using and drinking, is to numb out and not have to feel the misery or the discomforts of life. But when you actually get sober and you stick around people that are happy, do your best to like learn why they're happy and how you can eventually get happy too, so that you can transfer that to other people.
I love it. Thank you, Pej. Pam also says here, we're blessed with 2,337 days clean in recovery today. Wow.
Wonderful, Pam. Awesome.
I've been trying since mid to late 90s, but this time I've totally committed myself to service work. That is amazing. Shout out to you.
And you know what?
Huge.
That's what it's all about. At the end of the day,
Huge.
when you commit yourself to doing being a service and doing service work, you want to do something good around the holidays. You know what the greatest humility builder is and ego killer is go out to places where there are less fortunate people, serve food to them. Go to your local soup kitchen. Go to your shelter. Go do a food drive. Go do a gift drive. Go and look at how there's some people that are really suffering and don't have it as good as you. And if you actually have a roof over your head and 3 meals a day, you're just fine. You're just fine. Anything more than that, are just the perks of life. They're the extras. It's the good stuff that comes with it. So
Mm-hmm.
never forget where you came from. I can't emphasize it enough.
Never forget where you came from, and happy
Protect
holidays, everyone. If
your sobriety.
Thank you so much again, Pej. If anyone's listening or watching this and you're struggling with drug or alcohol addiction, you can always give us a call. Give us a call 24/7 at 800-387-6907. Someone will pick up, talk to you, hear your story, and get you help. Doesn't matter if you have insurance, no money, whatever. Give us a call. We will find you help. That's what this whole thing is about. That's why we do what we do.
Ashley Belcher, happy 142 days.
Happy
That's huge.
142 days. Amazing. If you'd like to listen to any of our past podcasts, we have them all available on our brand new website, sobergrind.com. It's in the link of the description. Wherever you're listening or watching this, you can click on it, check out the website. We have tons of great articles and recovery resources on there. We're trying to make it the best resource and website for you possible. Also, if you learned something today, if you like the podcast, it would mean the world to us if you could help us out with a review. If you could go over to iTunes and leave us a positive review on Sober Grind, it would really benefit us. It helps the podcast grow and reach a stronger and newer audience. You can also just share this wherever you're listening, on Facebook or on YouTube, or listening to the podcast. Tag a friend or a family member in there that can really benefit from it. Pej,
Also, I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to Kelly Kettle because he's going to have me on Rehab's 411. That's a Facebook page on Saturday at noon. He wants to have me talk about something, so I'm going to come on there and probably talk about something that has to do with addiction and overcoming it. All right?
Awesome. Go check out that page. Good stuff.
Sober guy.
Sober grind out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.